Okay. There we go. So what we're going to do is we've had some sellers that we're going to be talking to tonight. I'm pulling up some addresses right now.
Being transferred from your phone to Google Photos all the way to my computer, and then
Joe, you're on mute.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Jen's going on a mute and spree and muting everyone. So these are some of my favorite events because it seems like every single time we host one of these, we seem to make a deal. The last one we did was at North Pole, Alaska. If you haven't tuned into that, it's on the Creative Finance Playbook page. That deal came through, and you'll see that on our website. We've done one actually in our own town. Was one of them, I think, right before that too. So we need to do more of these. Is the name of the game. So
Absolutely.
tonight I think I'm up first. Is that right?
Yes.
So.
Yeah, so how we're going to work this too is if you have questions, drop them in the chat as we're going, and then afterward we'll try to hit up the Q&A. But we do have some sellers that are waiting for our phone calls between the hour of 7 and 8. So we want to try to get to them as quickly as possible. And so if you have some questions and you don't want to share addresses, by all means, you could private message, or, we could talk about, I know we said you could bring your own deals. So you can DM me on that. I do have my phone, so I'm on Instagram. Go ahead.
Nope, I got it.
Okay. And are we ready?
Yeah.
All righty.
I just want to make sure I had the right phone number first. And
Can you say what state this one's in?
so this one is in New York. Abby, do you want to go over a little snapshot of this? This is one that you're working.
Yeah, so this lady I actually found on Facebook. This is a free lead, and she is in New York, and I've been talking to her for a little while and following up with her. And this one is she is open to terms, so we would begin making her monthly mortgage payments on her behalf. And so this is kind of where we're going to get on a phone call with this deal and just see how we can iron out those details.
So great point. So she's moving. This is in New York. Why is she selling?
So she's selling because she actually just bought the house a little while ago, and she's selling because her mom just died, and so she has a bunch of memories associated with her mom in that house. She's just kind of wanting to escape some of those memories and move away from that.
And it's huge. It's a 4-bedroom.
It's like 3,000 square feet.
3,000 square feet. So this is a pretty big house that she's got here. So it's in a beautiful house. It's a beautiful neighborhood. She just bought it in 2019, summer of 2019. So 2.5 years ago. It's not even, I mean, from the pictures, the thing looks absolutely beautiful. So
Yeah.
nicely done. So, all right. We could just mute. I'm going to give Denise a call and see what we could do.
Hi, you reached me. Leave me a message. I'll call you back.
I'm gonna give Denise another try. So that's the thing when you're doing these, sometimes you have to call a few times. And sometimes you call and they'll call you right back too. I'm actually gonna do my phone trick too. I have a phone trick that will make them respond usually pretty quickly. Sometimes if you have somebody who doesn't recognize your phone number, they might not answer. Back when I grew up, you'll find out how old I am, but you didn't know who was calling. You just picked up the phone and said, hello, right? Now everybody knows. They don't understand that phone number. It's not pulling up in their call ID. They don't answer. So that's why sometimes we have a few tricks that we like to use. Let's give Denise a call one more time. she doesn't call, we'll go to the next one.
I think Abby said she was a little under the weather too.
She has not been feeling well.
Hi, you reached me.
All right, we'll put her in the follow-up folder and we'll continue to follow up with her, and hopefully by the time
Maybe we should call back.
she might call back. All right, so let's gonna see what do we got going on next while we wait for good old Denise. So the next one we have is in Staten Island. Is that right, Britt? Actually, real quick, guys, before we go too much further, can we all introduce ourselves? We do have some folks who have known us. We got some of our students here in the house. But we do have some folks who have not been on with us before. Maybe this is their first time. So once again, thank you so much. Should have done this in the beginning. I am Joe. This is my wife, Jen. This is what we do. We buy and sell houses all across the country. And some of these folks on here are our team. So you guys want to just kind of rattle off who you are and what you do, and we'll get going to the next one.
Let's start with Britt.
Britt, you're up, girl.
Hi guys, I'm Brittany. I started working with Jen and Joe a little over a year now. I am also a registered nurse, and this year recently in the last few months decided to go full-time real estate. So I'm working full-time with Jen and Joe, and I am the acquisition manager. So I do a lot of the closing calls with Joe, help the team answer questions and write up agreements, and help, get our deals to the finish line. So that's it.
It's a lot more than that. That's not just it. She does a lot. And every month we seem to be doing between the 5 and 10 range deals. So a lot of those deals, she's the one making those closing calls and ironing out the details. And then if they don't go down, what's the follow-up process and things like that. So she definitely keeps busy. Also managing a team on top of that is quite, a challenge too, because we all work virtually. So we're not all in the same place. We don't sit in the same office. We all live in different parts of the country, all not that far from each other, but they're probably 5-6 hours away. So with that being the case, she does an amazing job. So who's up next? Go, Abby, get it.
Cool. Hey guys, I am Abby Link. I'm 19 years old. I've been working with Jen and Joe since the summer-ish. Yeah, I think I started in the summer. So I'm an acquisitionist. I work with new leads coming in, and I kind of weed through them, have a bunch of closing call, or I call them and message them and kind of iron out some of the initial details that go into it before I hand it over to a closer. And I've been learning a lot, and that's pretty much it.
That's not also true, because you're also head of our IT department, which is she's making this incredible program that has been helping us streamline our process. Because when you have one deal going on, that's a lot between buying and selling. It's 2 transactions. When you're doing 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 a month, buying and selling, that adds up quickly. So having some software and having a process in line is extremely important. And Abby has been crucial with helping us develop that. And we'll be having a kick butt meeting this week to go into some of the new upgrades. So we're excited. So thank you for that, Abby. Next up.
Also, wait, I'm so sorry. Also, I accidentally told Denise her own that we'll be calling from her own number instead of the right number. So she should be good to call whenever we're done with introductions now.
Got it. Okay. All right.
I'll go next.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm Chelsea Westover. I'm actually out of Charlestown, West Virginia, and I started as an acquisitionist back in, June of last year, and then still an acquisitionist, and then I picked up also helping with some of the transactions, so transaction coordinator with that, to just helping to chase down attorneys and babysit deals to the finish line.
Which is a lot of follow-up and a lot of chasing and emailing and follow-up. So yeah, and it takes persistence too, because as you'll see, and the things that we've talked about in our deals, they don't go always as planned, but that follow-up and chasing them down to the finish line is crucial. So very important to what we do. Amanda, you gonna go?
Sure. My name's Amanda Montano. I'm based out of Delaware. I started working with Jen and Joe and team fall of last year. And I'm also a part of the acquisition team. So I speak to a lot of people every day. And like Abby said, kind of weed through and try to find the ones to pass on.
Absolutely. And do an amazing job of keeping us really busy. Tonight, we also had Serena and Elizabeth, and they couldn't be here tonight. So with that being the case, though, they also contribute quite a bit. So as we were doing introductions, guess who called? My buddy Denise, of course. So we're gonna go back to Denise. So, all right, cool, ready? We can, when I'm just mute, and I'm gonna give her a call. Telling you this Denise hung up on me now. Can you guys hear this okay when I'm calling?
You can hear it ring.
Hello?
Hello, Denise?
Yeah, hi. I couldn't hear you. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I got a hold of you. Did I catch you at a good time?
Well, it just came out. We just came down to get something to eat quick.
Okay,
But I could talk to you for a couple minutes. I just came out in the hallway.
okay. Well, obviously, I'd love to chat more when it's probably a better time about your house.
I know. Yeah, I know. I'm just like really, I'm sure she told you, I'm still have COVID and I've been really sick. I'm on the antibiotics now and it's hard to talk. My throat really hurts.
Yikes. Yeah, I just had it too over the holidays. I feel for you.
Yeah, it's horrible. So I was thinking like, I mean, I should be fine by like, hopefully a couple days or call me on Monday, whatever. I mean, I just want to feel better so I can talk to you. I'll send you pictures. I haven't done anything because I haven't been feeling too good.
No, and I know, and I want to make sure we have, clear head of what's going on here. This is a beautiful house. So why don't we chat? I'll give you a call next week. I hope you feel better.
Okay. Thank you.
And I hope you enjoy dinner.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye. Okay. So when I'm always going to ask, is now a good time? And if I'm listening and I hear that she's in a hallway of a restaurant, sick as a dog from COVID, kind of strange, but hey, who's the judge, right? I probably wouldn't be in a restaurant. Either way, I'm sensing that's not the best time to have a talk about almost $500,000 property, right? A beautiful house in a really nice neighborhood. So part of doing this is using your head and listening to the other person, because I want to make sure that she's going to be able to understand what's going on and have an intelligent conversation and really be clear with the seller what's happening, right? That we're going to buy the house if we could agree on price and terms. But if now's not a good time, I'm not going to get into that. It doesn't make any sense. And the only thing it's going to do is probably cause confusion, and you have to do it again anyways. So being compassionate, obviously, she's sick. So I want to make sure she's also feeling a little bit better too. So there's always another day. So next, coming up, we have, who's up next? Is this Mike and Chelsea, is this yours?
Yeah, is Mike next?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yes, that's mine.
So do you want to give us a little snapshot of what's going on here with Mike?
Sure. So this is a 3-bed, 1-bath, single family home in New York City. He recently got divorced and basically he's just looking to downsize. He doesn't need all that house for himself.
Okay.
So looks like he's looking to sell as soon as the price is agreed upon, but it would take him a couple weeks to get everything out. Not much repairs, just replacing a couple boards on the back deck.
Mhm. Okay. He's looking for
about $650, but willing to negotiate.
Guy's divorce is in need of a space. How soon? Price is agreed. Could take it in a few weeks. Get everything out. Repairs. Just replace a couple of boards on the deck. I could do that before the sale. That's owed or some back taxes.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit, I'm catching up with on the utilities, about 25K owed on back taxes and utilities, but there's no mortgage, is that right?
Correct.
So he's looking for 650K. Now, did he say he was open for terms?
Where is, am I on mute? No. Okay, good.
No, Gary.
So he was interested, but he was wanting to understand how it works, and he was going to talk to his lawyer, but I said, why don't we hop on a phone call and kind of talk through it first?
Okay. Cool. Let me give him a call right now. Hello, Mike.
Yes,
Hi, sir. This is Joe calling. You were speaking with Chelsea about your house you were looking to sell.
yes,
Did I catch you at a good time?
absolutely.
Oh, good. So I've been chatting with Chelsea, and it looks like you got a beautiful house from what I've seen online.
Yeah, I have no problems with it.
Yeah, so she says that you're thinking of selling it if everything looks good, maybe possibly in the next few weeks even.
Yeah,
Okay. So she mentioned too, it's pretty turnkey, just really, some small, like, she mentioned like a board in the back deck. That's probably about it. Is that right?
yeah, board in the back deck, just have to tighten up the front handrail. And one of the screens out on the patio, I have to replace.
So,
Other than the house is ready to go.
so really just all tiny, nothing really much at all.
Nothing much.
Okay.
Like I said, about $500 to $1,000 fix everything.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Okay. So Chelsea was also mentioning that if you'd be open to seller financing, if we could agree on price and terms, is that right?
I told her, I said, I didn't understand what she was talking about. I contacted my lawyer, but he's
Okay.
out with COVID, so he hasn't gotten back to me yet. Could you explain a little bit about this? I have no idea what it really is.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like so many people have COVID right now. It's just running rampant around here too.
Yeah.
So what all seller financing is, it's just, we'd figure out what the price of the house is. And once we could agree on that price of the house, we would just make monthly payments to you directly until we could get you cashed out. So really what it is just a delayed cash sale for full price. So if you're a little flexible on when you could get paid off, we could pay a top dollar for your house, buy it as is, so you don't have to worry about fixing that, handrail and the deck board and things like that. And if everything else works out well, we'd pay our half of the closing costs, but we could pay your half of the closing costs too. So it does work out well for a lot of folks who want to sell the house, know they're going to get a good dollar for it.
Okay, now, just as an example, say we settled on 100,000 for the house.
Okay.
What kind of payments are these value wise? What would it come out to?
So and that's what we would figure out as far as what the payments would be on 600,000. We would figure.
I was talking to a friend of mine, and he says he was a retired real estate agent. He says he's never even heard of anything like this before.
Of seller financing?
Yeah, he says he's heard of people going and getting a mortgage to do it, but he's never heard of the buyer getting monthly payments.
Yeah, I mean, this has been happening, for centuries now, seller financing of people buying and selling real estate, whether it's a house, or whether it's a building, or just even just raw land. It's things like a land contract and things like that. If he hasn't heard of that before.
Well, you know what? He was really into commercial realty, so I don't know. Maybe he didn't have to deal with homes like this.
Okay. It happens with commercial too. I don't know. Sometimes realtors, kind of stick to just, maybe it's higher end things.
Maybe it just wasn't his part of the thing. Maybe he was just into mortgages and corporate stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, and if you ever were to look up like a land contract, that's what we call them in New York State. They're used all the time. And to be quite honest with you, the firm that we use, they're big. They're all over upstate New York and in New York City too. So they specialize in just real estate transactions. So it's pretty common.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So once we would agree on, say, the $600,000 range, we would figure out what a term length would be as far as, what the monthly payment would be. We would pay the taxes. We would pay the insurance. We'd have it all closed with attorneys. So they would see a $600,000 sale. We would make monthly payments to you. And then we'd have, obviously a date down the road where we'd have to give you the complete lump sum by the complete payoff. And therefore, once again, you could net a lot better this way because there's no 6% commissions. There's no closing costs. If we agree on 600,000, you're netting 600,000.
Okay. Now, how long would a payment plan, a term to pay this whole thing off the date?
Well, and that's where I try to be a little flexible and work around what your schedule is, because I'll be honest with you, we work with some folks who love the fact that we're taking care of the payments. They got mailbox money coming in every month and the maintenance is all taken care of, and they'll take a payoff for 20 or 30 years. And then we work with some folks who want to get cash out a lot sooner, like say 5 to 10 years. So my question to you is, if we agree on around that 600 grand range and buy the property as is and take care of all the closing costs, what's the most amount of time you'd give us to get you cashed out?
I would probably say within 10 years. I wouldn't go 20 or 30.
Okay, so if we say did a 10-year term around 600,000, I would amortize the payments based on like a 30-year term, but I would put a balloon amount in at that, say, 10-year term.
Okay.
And then that's how I would figure out what the payments are. And then I would add the property taxes and insurance on top of that. That's what my payment would be. And then, if all of that looks good and everything else that we would agree on, I would put it in writing, and then we'd send it to your attorney to have him look it over. And obviously,
Right.
if he likes what they see and we like what we see, we give it the blessing and move forward. And it's pretty simple.
Okay.
So I guess what I'll do is let me go to work as far as that stuff goes. And we typically buy with no money down, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So then here's what I'll do. Let me get with Chelsea. I'm going to run this on a payment calculator. Let me put some of this, like what we talked about, on paper. And do you have like maybe an email address for your attorney that we could send this information to?
Yeah, I actually sent it to Chelsea, but I'll send it to her again if you want.
Oh, if you can, just so she probably has it, but if not,
Yeah,
send it
no
again, just anyways, just so I'll double check. And then what I'll do is we could kind of, I'll write this up. I'll send it to your attorney's office. Obviously, I'll put in a whole lot of extra time there, knowing that they're not doing well right now.
Right.
So they could have plenty of time to look it over when they're feeling better.
Okay.
And then obviously, let's keep in touch in the next few days. If there's any questions that you have, I'll be more than happy to kind of get on a call. But so far, everything I've seen that I liked. Do you have more newer pictures that you could send?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Do you have any more recent pictures that you could send of the property? I found some online, but they just look to be from maybe years ago.
Yeah, sure. What I could do is actually, because I leave like 6 in the morning, so it's still dark out. So what I could do is Saturday morning when I'm off, so I could take pictures and send them all to you and Chelsea.
Perfect. That sounds awesome. All right, Mike. Yeah, that sounds great, Mike. So here's,
I'm sorry, what was your name again?
it's Joe Delle, Fave.
Joe. Okay, thank you, Joe.
Yeah, no problem, sir. So I'll get those photos from you on Saturday. Meanwhile, I'll get with Chelsea and we'll go over everything that we're talking about. And once we get that email address in the next few days, I'll get that over to the attorney. I won't rush them because I know, like I said, they're not feeling well. And if they've got questions, I'll send them my attorney's information too. And obviously, if they have any questions, we can all get in touch and iron out the details.
Sounds good.
Awesome day. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay, there we go. Nicely done. So this property is in Staten Island, New York City. The Zestimate on it, which I know is sometimes high, sometimes low, shows a 644. The house allegedly is turnkey. And if it's just maybe like a board and a handrail, things like that, it's pretty meticulous. And we do run into a lot of that. A lot of times when we're talking with sellers, they think it's some, beat up house or it needs a lot of work. Actually, we prefer the houses that don't need work, that are really in a nice house in a nice neighborhood. And I mean, Staten Island, New York, it's pretty nice. So we'd have to do a little bit more research on that, Chelsea. And let's dive into the details. So this is when we get off that closing call. Now we're going to go into, information mode, and we're going to start running some serious comps. We're going to find out what the taxes are, what the insurance are, all the details on the property. So what I show for insurance, or I'm sorry, property taxes, what they currently are, this is on PropStream I'm using, it's $5,400 a month or a year. So $5,400 a year. I'm imagining insurance being maybe $1,000, maybe $1,500 a year. Probably won't be much more than that. It is a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 1,000 square foot house. And once again, it's pretty turnkey. As I'm having my DocuSign.
Angel's saying a lot less taxes down in Florida. He's rubbing it in again.
Yeah, I know. But now, guys, here's the thing. When we talk to this deal, so many folks say, I'm going to put down X amount of money. This is a $600,000 property. Seller says to no money down. What did that sound like? He said, okay. When I said we typically buy with no money down, okay. And he said, yeah, that's fine. So I moved on. So there's a good lesson for everyone if you're paying attention. You don't have to put down tons of money on these deals. Sometimes you just have to cover closing costs. And as our team knows, cost of acquisition could make or break a deal. And if the cost of acquisition on that deal is too high, that's a deal breaker, right? So if we're covering closing costs, payments, insurance, taxes, all these things that are possibly going on here, which we now need to investigate a little bit more on in order to make this deal work, cost of a deal could be very expensive. So you want to make sure that your down payment stays as close to zero as possible. All right, who do we got next?
Brittany was going to help because Elizabeth's not here.
Okay.
Alrighty, so I'm gonna send you the name.
This is Rhonda.
No, Barry.
Oh, I spoke to Barry.
You did?
Oh, no, this is when I was supposed to speak to Barry, but he didn't answer. I'm thinking of the other one, Benjamin. I spoke to Benjamin. So
I just texted you his name in the CRM.
Okay.
So just to give a little background, this house is in New Mexico. The seller is selling because he just wants to get out of the area. He was a truck driver who got into an accident, wants to sell as soon as possible. States the house just needs cosmetic repairs. This is a free and clear home, and he is open to seller financing and waiting for a call. And there are pictures in the conversation as well.
Yep, I'm looking at them. That's what we were waiting for.
Yep. So.
Okay, so Barry's got the house. I'm looking at the pictures now. So this was if I'm not mistaken, this is a manufactured home. Am I right here?
Yeah, I think so.
He says that this is so far out. He's like, it's so newer. It's not even really on the map because I've looked for this place. You're not going to find it. It is that far in New Mexico. So, all right, cool. I'm going to give Barry a call right now. And let me see, do we know the details of the price he wanted? Price, he wants 100K, says he's discounted for repairs. Let me give everybody a little snapshot. Wants to get out of the area. Obviously, you just went over that part of it. Repairs, cosmetic, paint, carpet. Nothing's owed. Wants 100K. Can you give me an estimate on what payments would be, down payment, etc.? His estimate shows nada, because there's probably not anything on there. A real estate agent gave him a market analysis of 135 grand. Let's see a copy of that. I'd like to. And then PropStream shows a value of about 90,000. So wants to make it work. Double check ARV. Cool. All right, here we go. Let's let it rip, Barry. Hello, Barry.
Yes.
How's it going, sir?
Oh, getting going over here.
You getting going?
We both have a little cold front coming in, it's dropping in a hurry.
Well, wait a minute. I live up north. What do you call cold?
Yeah, it's supposed to high, it's supposed to be 38 tomorrow, so that's pretty cool.
Oh, that probably gets there chilly for you folks. I have a foot and a half of snow in my front yard right now, so.
Yeah, cool. I'd rather that it snows in the cold.
Well, we get both. We get both. Did
Where
I?
you live?
I live in upstate New York, right next to Canada.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, tell me about it. I know. My wife doesn't want to be here for too much longer because once again, there's probably more snowmen than people here. But it's all right. It's nice. So did I catch you at a good time?
Yeah, that's fine now.
Okay, so I was chatting with Elizabeth about your property. And I appreciate you sending over those pictures because that's super helpful. I could get a better idea because there's really not able to find much online.
Right.
Because
Yeah, it's kind of a no man bought this. There's about 40 something acres out here, and he bought it and he separated it in acre lots, and he was gonna give his kids, and they didn't want it, so he started selling the lots, and it's just like a subdivision, I guess. I mean, I don't know what they call it, but I know there's the guy that lived behind me has 40 acres, and then there's 1, 2, 6 lots out here on the front that are 1 acre lots.
okay, so you have one of the 1 acre lots, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and then this is a manufactured home that's put on that 1 acre lot, is that right too?
Right.
Okay. Do you know the age of that home that's on there?
It's a 96 Oak Creek.
Okay, I'm sorry. And how old is it?
96,
Oh, 96. I'm so sorry. Okay.
26.
Yep. No, I gotcha. Okay. I'm so sorry. So it's not, so it's relatively newer. It looks like to me, like you were talking about, it needs cosmetics. So some paint, some carpet, some things like that. It's not anything major, it looks like from the pictures.
No.
Okay. So when I was chatting with Elizabeth, she mentioned that if we could agree on price and terms that you would be open to seller financing. Is that right?
Yeah, just depending on how much of a down payment and all that, because I'm wanting to move up to northern New Mexico, and not really engaged, but about to be.
Oh, congratulations. Well, I can see why you want to move.
Yeah, I'm ready to get out of here.
Well,
I was working in the oil field hurt my back, and they won't let me drive a truck anymore, so they put me on social security disability, and I'm just ready to get out of here. And all my kids are gone and everything. So
and then you found love and now it makes more sense.
just ready to get out of here.
Well, call it what it is. Well, then good. So I guess my question is, we're not realtors, so there's no 6% commission. And if we could grant everything else too, and we buy the property as is, so there's no need for any repairs. We'll take care of the carpets and all that stuff like we chatted about.
Right.
We would end up paying all the closing costs, so you don't have to even worry about that part of it too. We'll pay our half, but we'll also cover your half, all the fees and all that. So, we take care of all of that. So my question to you is, if we could agree on the terms, what's the lease you would take for the property?
I've had 2 realtors give me just market analysis on them, and they told me 135. And I figured with this repair, I don't know how much it'll cost or anything, but like the carpet, I know all that's expensive, and paint and everything. But I'm looking. I was gonna ask 110, but I'm not gonna get less than 90 for it.
So no less than 90.
Right.
All right. So say we were around that 90 range. And I'll be honest, before in the past, and I hear what's kind of going on in your situation, so I'd like to see what we could do, because, to be quite honest with you, we typically buy with no money down. So if we were to work out some type of down payment, what's the least you would take?
I was thinking at least half. And that's, work or anything, so that's what I want.
Half. Yeah, so a lot of times if that was the case, I would probably end up working, something with a bank. And I just don't know if that'd end up working out with them too.
Right.
Because putting half down would I think make that out of the range.
Right.
Do you think that's the best you can do?
Yeah, well, I don't know, because I don't know how much y'all would want to pay on a monthly basis, or how y'all want to do that, or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because to be quite honest with you, a lot of times, just to let you know a little bit about what we would do is, after we buy the house, say we agree on that $90,000 range, we pay, how many thousand in closing costs, not a ton, but some. And then we're going to get into the house, and obviously we have to paint it, tear out the carpet. There's always going to be some miscellaneous stuff that always happens in every property, landscaping, some things like that. So by the time we get into it, it could be tens of thousands of dollars. And then, obviously we would also now have to get insurance, do all those things, pay the property taxes, and then we're going to start paying those payments to you. So sometimes if getting into it costs too high, it almost doesn't make sense. And we could pay a good dollar for the property, because I don't want to say, hey, I'm going to give you half, because that doesn't make any sense, right? But for your properties, it's nice. So if we can make something like that work to where I could get the down payment a little bit lower, that would help me to be able to make the repairs, because I know what we would end up doing is we're working with folks who are going to want to own the property down the road. So with that being the case, I want to make sure we make it turnkey, absolutely stunning, put the nice carpet in there, make it look beautiful to paint. So when somebody sees it, those would help it turn over quicker. So, my question too is, obviously if we could get you cashed out not too long down the road, I'm not looking to do like 30 years. But my question to you is, if we were to agree on that $90,000 range, we could go back to that down payment. But to be honest with you, we work with some folks who will give us 20, 30 years to get them cashed out. And then we have some folks who we might put a balloon payment in at like 10 years, right? So would something like that work better for you if we got you cashed out sooner?
Yeah, I need the cash sooner, because like that, I gotta move and find me another place.
Okay. And you think you need the whole 50, you think?
Well, I could do a little less. I don't know what I'm gonna find up there yet. I'm looking at a place, it's just a lot, but
Okay.
they want 40,000 for it, and then I'd have to start thinking about, putting a house out there to live in.
Got it.
I didn't know how y'all work or anything, and that's what I want to find out more than anything. So.
I'll be honest with you, I'm listening to your situation, because I know you said that you hurt your back.
Right.
And so you're on probably more of a limited income right now. So you'd probably almost need all of that cash to be able to accomplish what you're looking to do. Am I right?
Well, I just as much as I can right now.
I
don't know what y'all are willing to go with or whatever. You can tell me what your bottom dollar on down payment is, or whatever, and then how you do it a month or whatever. I don't know. If you figure that out.
So yeah.
Maybe we can work something out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let me get with my team on this, put my heads together, see what we could do. I'd love to help you out and figure a way to make this work for you. We are happy. Now, my question to you is, when the realtors gave you that market analysis, did they send you any of that literature or email it to you?
No, they just girl came out here and she sat here at the table and, and asked me questions about the house. And she did look around outside and inside both.
Okay.
And she told me, she said, it's gonna need carpet, and I know it's carpet paint, clean up, and
okay.
And outside I put a metal roof on it. I think 2013. She said, well, she didn't have anybody to inspect it right now. I said, that's fine. But she just figured like the cosmetics, the carpet and paint stuff right now. So,
and she believes that if all that was done, it would sell for 135?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because like the oil field, it's starting to pick back up, and and it's gonna go crazy. I mean, we've got FETC here, the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center, and people are buying houses and renting it out to the FETC people for $1,500, $2,000 a month for a dog.
Wow.
Whoa! I wish I could do that, but I just can't afford to do that right now.
Oh, that's amazing.
And like I said, I'm just ready to get out of here. I'm born and raised here, lived here most of my life, and like I said, my kids are gone and everything, and I'm ready to go.
Well, let me put my head together, my team, and let's see if I can make that happen for you. So let me ask you the
Okay.
next question. If we make everything work, how soon are you thinking of moving?
I would say within the next couple of months.
Okay. All right, cool. I'll let him know. Let me get with Elizabeth.
Okay.
She's in a meeting tonight, but her and I will be chatting tomorrow, and we'll get a hold of you in the next few days.
All right, sounds good to me.
Thanks, Barry. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye. What a nice guy. Like, seriously.
Lots of rapport building.
That's what I love about doing what I do. And I'm gonna already apologize ahead of time. If y'all don't know, I'm a little bit of a chatter. So I love chatting with folks. I just like it. So doing this job, we hired a business consultant for our company. And the business consultant, one of the things they really brought to my attention was like, do the things that you love. And some of those things that you love to do really don't help as much to your team, but you love to do it. So you're going to do it anyways, right? So some of the things that I'll do are some of the miscellaneous things, like be on the phone trying to get our stuff fixed or something like that, where it's not really super impactful, but it needs to get done. Some of these things though, I love to do. I love to just chat with somebody like that. Like that's somebody I can imagine just going down and kicking it with and pulling up some lawn chair in the front yard and having a beer with or something, right? So I'd love to see if we can help him out. Now in his situation, to be quite honest with you, listening to it, and I try to be digest what they say. In that situation, to be quite honest with you, his best bet's probably listed with a realtor. It's probably listed as is if he could get that 90 to 100 grand for it. He needs that money because when you're in a limited income and his only asset is his property that he doesn't owe any money on, he's needing that money to go buy a new property. And if he needs $40,000 in cash, chances of him going to get a loan being on a fixed income could be a challenge for some folks. So sometimes the deal is good for us and we can make the deal work and good for the seller too. Sometimes by listening to what's going on in the seller's life, maybe the best bet is just to get a cash offer on it through a realtor. Not saying that I wouldn't love to make a deal with him, but I definitely don't want to put $40,000 down into a manufactured home in the middle of New Mexico that really doesn't have a lot of stuff going on around there, right? And if he could get that sold even for 80, 90 grand, 100 grand, whatever it is, and pay some realtor commission, but get his cash now to where he could buy what he wants and accomplish his dream of moving, then all the merrier, right? There's enough deals to go around that we want to help people. And if that's what it is, then, you know, maybe that is the best choice for him, but we'll look into it a little closer. Next, who do we got? Got time for one more?
So the final one we have is the one I think you were talking about originally, and that is the fire one.
Benjamin Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Benjamin has a house in Michigan. Had a fire there. There was like this wall that really wasn't a load-bearing wall. It was kind of just like for display. I don't know, but it had a small fire inside of this wall. The wall caught on fire and really caused just a little bit of damage, but not enough to where it was like burning down the house. Most of the damage is all smoke damage. Jen and I had this experience a couple years ago with one of our properties and had a little bit of smoke damage on there. That's the worst part. You got to tear everything out and replace it. So he's willing to sell his house on terms. Now this could be an extra strategy. He's looking for around 20 to 25,000. I think the ARV is in the low hundreds. I think the house would need to get gutted on the inside. Outside looks great. Let me pull it up real quick in our CRM so I could get a little bit more information for you guys. Then we'll give little Benjamin a call. Nice guy. Whose lead was this? Was this Elizabeth's too?
Yeah, this is Elspeth.
Girl's been keeping me busy.
Mhm.
So he did send over some pictures. I wish to get more. But this would be a great property for somebody who is in, I guess, in this part of town. He says these properties sell quick. It's a very small town. There's not a lot going on there. But he says that they do sell quick. So I think if I'm not mistaken, Britt, this is one where we would probably look to assign to another investor.
Mhm.
He's willing to give us a couple $100 a month payment over 10 years. It's kind of what we chatted about, but we didn't get into too much details. So I'm going to iron out those details now. And what I would think to do is find somebody who buys in Michigan, who wants to buy this house, to do the work to it, to turn it into either a fix and flip or to take over our terms, fix it, and then turn it into a rental. So I'm going to give Benjamin a call right now. Hello, Benjamin.
Yes, sir.
Hey, this is Joe. How's it going, sir?
Good, how you
Doing well. We were chatting the other day about your house.
doing? Absolutely.
Did I catch you at a good time?
Yep.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, so I was doing a little research. I appreciate those pictures that you sent over. That was pretty helpful. Are those pretty recent or are those a little bit older?
No, they're actually pretty recent. The last, give or take, maybe like 2-3 weeks.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you just did those. So that partition wall that caught on fire, you said they realized it was some type of maybe something that was going on inside the wall. Is that right?
Yeah, it's possibly like an electric outlet or something like that.
Okay. And it didn't look like from the pictures I saw, it didn't char through the ceiling. It was just all smoke damage. Did I miss something there?
There's a little bit on the one rafter, but the inspector said that it was still I forget how he fancy word it, but it was fine.
Okay. Yeah, so it looks like more would just have to have everything tore out of the inside and I'll put back together. Is that right?
Pretty much, yep.
Okay. So I know when we were chatting the other day, we were thinking around that $20,000 price range.
Right.
And then when I was chatting with you and your wife, you were thinking that you guys would be open to terms on that if we could agree on the seller financing.
Yes.
Okay. So here's what I would look to do. I do have a couple of investor buddies that I know who buy and sell in Michigan that I would probably like to team up with on this deal because I'm not boots on the ground, but they would be.
Right.
So what I would like to do is, and before I could chat with them about this, I would want everything that we talked about in writing so I could show them what it is that we're agreeing on.
Right.
And then find one of them that I'm a partner up with on this deal.
Right. Here's the kicker too. So the reason why I want to stick at I want to stick at 20 is because once this house is like what's it called? Back to curb appeal, the town is holding a $13,000 check to the owner of the home once it's up to snuff basically. So if I sell the house, that's why I want to get that 20 grand. Because if I sell the house, then you guys would take ownership of that, and then there would be you guys would, well, I guess whoever would actually get a $13,000 check from the town of Owen.
What are they doing that for?
It's just something about when there's a house claim or whatever, they put a lien, not even a lien, they just put that they're supposed to get money from the insurance company, just in case like they have bulldozed it or whatever.
I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did they send you any paperwork on that?
They have not yet. I know that they were just in the process of receiving that 13,000 or whatever it was, and so I am waiting for something.
Got it. I'm guessing if that's some type of holdback the insurance company gives the town just in case you don't, or the house doesn't get built and they do, like you said, you have to demolish it, that covers that cost. Okay, I'd like to find out more about that too, but okay, that makes sense. So my question to you is, with the seller financing, obviously the 20,000, like we chatted about before, if we could buy it as is, I'd have to show this to my partners. And they were gonna wanna know what the terms are. So if we're around that $20,000 price range, I think when we chatted before that we could do around 10 years, is that right?
Yeah.
For payments? Okay, so if I do my. Just wanna make sure I'm doing this right. That breaks it down to about $166 a month. Is that right? That's obviously we have to pay the taxes and the insurance on top of that.
Right around there.
Okay. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write this up, put it in writing that we're agreeing on the 10-year term, the payment of the $166 a month, the $20,000 price that we said. I'm going to send it to you. You could take a look at it. If you could just do me a favor and send me your email address. And then once you do that, I'm going to start now showing that to some of my investor friends who live not too far from there. And I might have to have some of them go to the property, kind of do a walkthrough and do measurements and things like that too. So I will definitely make sure that when that happens, I communicate with you. So, when the neighbors don't call and be like, hey, there's some guy walking through your house, right? You'll be in the loop the whole time. But everything else sounds good. So if you could do me a favor and just shoot back your email address, I'll have that sent to you probably sometime tomorrow. Look it over, but it's going to be pretty easy. Like I said, the 20 grand selling price, the payment, the length that we said. There's also going to be something in there too, just so you know that there's going to be no prepayment penalty. So just in case one of my friends finds this property and they decide they're going to want to just fix and flip it, and then we pay you off in 7-8 months, you'll get paid off just sooner.
Right.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Any questions for me?
No, I can, is this, form you're sending me, I can print it off, right? Because I have my brother's a lawyer. So he wants to look over everything and make sure everything's good and everything,
Yep. You can either print it or just forward it right to him, either one.
Outstanding.
Perfect. All right, cool. We'll get that over to you tomorrow. If you could just send me your email tonight, and we'll get this rocking and rolling, sir.
Do you have anything to write, bud? I'm actually driving my semi right now. It's kind of hard to.
Just even if, no problem. You know what? Even if you want to text it to me tomorrow or later tonight, that's fine too. Whenever you get a chance, no hurry.
Okay, sounds good, boss.
Awesome. You have a good one. You drive safe, and we'll chat later.
Will do, sir.
All right. Thank you so much.
Good night.
All right, bye. Here we go. All right. That deal makes some sense there. I think if somebody does the house nice, and I don't think they have to completely crush it out of the box and make the house absolutely stunning, but I think if they could do a very good job to the property, that gives them probably about $60,000 worth of repairs, worth of room of house. Now the exterior of the house is in nice shape. It's really just getting to the inside, tearing out the old walls, tearing out that bathroom, tearing out the kitchen floors, putting it all back together. I think it's about 1,200 square feet. It's not a very big place. So it's not a 3,000 square foot house where it goes quick, right? Some of these smaller 1,200 square foot houses, it's not that hard to do. So there should be room for us to be able to make a deal with him to get a buyer in there and not have to come up with the $20,000. They're gonna have to come up with an assignment fee, some closing costs, and they're into a deal. So there's some leverage for an investor or somebody who may be a contractor who can't get qualified for a home, but would love the fact that they could get into this property with just a few $1,000s out of pocket, and they could remodel it their own way, on their own time, as they want, and then own this home. So we could look for a retail buyer who's handy, or we could look for an investor, and we could market this property both ways. Cool.
I was gonna go back because Ed had a question on the last property, but I know we want to try to get our seller calls in. So are we done with seller calls?
We're pretty, okay, we're good. I think we maybe have a couple
We
more.
always
but
say like 8 p.m. is kind of our cutoff because, Eastern time over here, we don't want to be annoying to people. So yeah, on that last property, you're talking to Barry, I think it was.
Barry.
He wants 29.6% of the asking as the down payment. If he has steady income, he can refinance and pull out the cash he needs to buy the next place and then sell it to you on terms. He gets what he wants. You pick up the payments plus a couple hundred. Do you ever discuss that strategy?
Say this one more time.
Yeah, sure. So he said a realtor told him that the house was worth 135, then you got a $45,000 discount. But based upon the estimation of 135, assuming it would appraise for that much, if he's looking for $40,000 down and you don't want to give him the down payment, I bought a few houses this way where I tell them, look, you refinance, take out what you want. You're not going to refinance 100% of the value, but he's looking for $40,000 down. If he refinances for only 40 grand down, he gets to keep that cash now. And all he has is a different payment that he's making to the bank. So he had one payment. Now the payment's a little bit bigger. That just means that when I'm offering him terms, my payment's going to be up there plus a little bit more to cover the seller financer note of the 40,000 plus the additional he needs in order to get to the 80. So what I'm doing is he's got a new first position with that refinance note. And then we're doing a wraparound for the equity that I owe him for the rest of it. So at that point, his monthly payment to the mortgage just went up a little bit. My monthly payment to him really is probably the same anyway. So what is he getting? He's getting that payment covered plus a few $100, whatever the monthly payment that we agree upon. The point is without me giving him anything down, because of the amount that he needs is only 29%. As long as he's got steady income that can cover that, he should easily be able to refinance, pull the cash he needs now, and do the terms deal. You offer him a little bit of interest on top of that, and he's got a screaming good deal, and you don't got any money down.
Right.
I'm just wondering if you ever use that. I've used that 2 or 3 times now. And most people, it's too confusing for them when I'm on the phone. But usually when I say I'm going to get with my team, we're going to put our heads together on it. When I get back to them, I'll say, here's what we can do. Now follow me. And then they pay attention when I say follow me. And they go, oh, yeah, you're right. I could pull out the cash. And then their problem solved. And now we got a great owner financing deal.
Yeah. And that's where we did that on one property and it worked well because you're right. You have to have somebody who could follow you on that. And I'll have to have deeper conversation with it about it. My only one concern was with him being on Social Security disability, not knowing what his income is. Sometimes on Social Security disability, they can make, and I'll have to have the conversation because if he had a good job being a truck driver, maybe paid a lot into where he's getting a good payment. But sometimes it could be the point where they're making $1,000 a month. Who knows? But that's a great point. Add for all you who don't know is one of my investor buddies who lives in the Tampa area, who when we go down to Tampa, we can't wait to go visit him and see each other because he does know what he's doing. That's for sure.
Yeah, he just offered a little free Excel sheet because we're getting some CRM questions. And we always preach, don't go out and get a fancy CRM and all the bells and whistles if you're just starting. We didn't have one until we needed one. And you'll know when you need one. So thank you for, giving out your email address and helping people out there.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Ed.
Yeah.
Sure. Can I say one more thing about that whole refinancing deal?
Yes.
If he's over 55 years old, he could also qualify for a reverse mortgage. If he does reverse mortgages are not what they used to be. And that means that he would actually have no payments to be made. And then you can work on buying it that way on a wraparound too. So with a reverse mortgage, even if he's on Social Security disability, if he's over 55 years old, he can pull out the money he needs with a reverse mortgage, not make any payments. And then you can work on purchasing the house from him that way.
So what's the trick with the reverse mortgages? Because we've been talking about these recently. And I know that I've talked to on this topic before about how the bank wants to know if you're living in the property.
That's right. Yes, they do. And he is living in the property. When he does the reverse mortgage, he's absolutely living in the property. The reverse mortgage basically is where they're going to pull equity out of this property. He's not going to make any payments on it. And the interest still accrues. He's just not making payments. So what happens is when somebody passes away, they've gotten to use all that equity without selling the house. And then he passes away and your kids can still pay for it at that point. They just pay off that note in order to buy the property. And it's no different than if he were to refinance and pull the equity out of it now so he could use it, but now he's got to make payments. A reverse mortgage does something very similar with one exception. He doesn't make payments on the property. So you can make payments to him and you can actually have them put that money into escrow so that if he passes on, you can use the escrow money to purchase the house. Or once you've completed the note, if he's still alive, you just buy the house. You can buy a reverse mortgage property anytime you want simply by paying off that note.
Right. Right.
So very similar to the whole refinance, but no payments. He's got to be 55 or older.
My always worry, I guess, concern was what happens if the bank all of a sudden gets wind that they moved or thought that he's moved or the seller.
I don't know,
stops.
but I know a guy who does reverse mortgages. I could ask him that question.
I'd love to
So-
chat more about that with you too.
Sure.
Good news is I have a timer on my phone. In 38 more days, we're going to be where you are.
Can't wait.
So
neither.
not like we're counting because it's like 37 in days and like 10 hours.
I think it's 37 degrees.
But it is that here too. So, but yeah, I definitely want to chat more about that with you. So
78 here. We'll go to Bahama Breeze. We'll go in the water.
yeah, quit your bragging.
Oh my God.
You're very much tails off up here with a foot and a half of snow. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that too. Thanks for sharing that PDF with everybody. If you guys don't have it, check that out because that's awesome. And do we have any questions?
Yeah, we've had a couple of really good questions in here. Somebody was asking about acquisitionists. I think I was able to answer that one. Our favorite exit strategy is, lease to own, but we are also assigning our term deals nationwide. We talked about cost per lead. They want to know how much we're spending per day. Kind of chatted about that.
So our cost per lead, we're running $2 to $3 per lead. Our average cost per deal is last month was $365, depending on how many deals we do. It usually ranges between $300 to $400 per deal. That's pretty low.
I don't know if Jessica and Eric are still on. They had a deal they wanted to chat about, property under contract, fixer upper, can't find a buyer. Wondering if it's a creative deal.
Jess and Erica, I see you guys on here. Or Eric, I'm sorry. I see you guys on here. If you want to.
Hi
There
guys,
we go.
how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
Always nice to see you.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys?
Yeah, let's chat.
Yeah. So we got a property under contract in Rensselaer. I don't know. I always feel like there's so many letters in that word. I'm always like, I don't know how to say that. Yeah. Outside Albany. So yeah, we got a deal right there, and it's a fixer upper. Like the house definitely needs work. We did have somebody go by and check it out. They think that it needs probably like $60,000, like for rehab or whatever. So we tried to find like a buyer because we have it under contract at 60, right?
At 60, yeah.
Yeah. And so we've been trying to market it, but we just haven't had anybody. I guess everybody really wants multifamilies right there. Because literally like almost all the houses on that street, when I was looking it up, are almost all duplexes. But this one's a single family. And so go ahead.
What do you think the ARB is on it?
180.
Yeah, either 180 to 190.
Okay. And that's for a single family because the challenge is doubles will
Right.
value, right? So have you found good comps at that 190 for single family homes?
I found I have quite a few because I made a flyer or whatever, like, and I put the comps on there too. Like I went through so many comps.
Yeah, I think that one of the higher comps was like 195.
Yeah,
but they were around 185 to 195.
Yeah.
So okay, so if we say it's 185, just we'll meet in that range times the typical 70%. Minus repairs, and they're guessing 65,000 for repairs. Am I right? So
it was a contractor who went through because one of the originally we were trying to see if one of the people there could JV with us to try to sell the deal. And so I guess her fiance is a contractor. So he went and walked the property and he said it was about 60. He said 60,000 to do it as a single family. And if you wanted to turn it into a duplex, because he said it looked like it was a duplex before, it would be 75.
Okay. So you have it under contract for 60. What are you marketing the property for?
I think we have it listed at 71.
So it's not like I don't think you're way out of range.
Yeah. I mean, it's only been 2 weeks, I think.
And I think it's been a little over 2 weeks. Yeah.
Okay. So two things I would want to look at. One, why are they selling?
Okay. Why is she selling?
Yeah.
So she had a domestic abuse situation in the property. And so she left and never went back. And so she's just been paying for it, but nobody's lived there or anything like that, just vacant.
Okay. my next question, so she's making this payment on this property
Mhm.
and it's sitting there vacant. What does she owe on it?
She owes around, we're thinking around 55, but she's not sure yet. So we were gonna hear back from title to find the exact.
Yeah,
numbers.
the exact numbers. Mhm.
Have you got a bank statement from her?
No.
She's very paranoid, for lack of a better way to describe it. Like she's just extremely paranoid. She's
Very
very
cautious.
skittish. Like she's nervous, very nervous all the time. Like her mom is actually the owner, but she's the one. Her mom is not only going to do whatever her daughter wants to do.
Right. Well, and I can imagine her being like that, probably because considering the situation tied to that property, right? There's probably a lot of emotional distress
Exactly.
in regards to that property. So when I'm hearing that, my one thing that I want to let her assure is like, hey, listen, like we want to take care of all this for you, make it as easy as possible. Like there's already been enough crap going on at this place that you don't need any more headaches, right? So we want to try to make it as easy as possible. Now, the one thing, Mrs. Seller, that works out in sometimes these situations is that we can start making these payments for you.
Yep.
Right? Or maybe I could find a buyer who we'll just take over making those payments for you until we could get that loan paid off, just so you're not stuck making that payment.
Right. Yep,
Would
and that's what I brought up with her today, and we have the loan payment of I think it's $853.
Yeah, I think she said she owes. I think she said $856 a month is how much her mortgage payment is.
Okay. But that's so here's where I'm thinking.
Mhm.
To be quite honest with you, if I'm gonna either fix and flip it myself, I'm looking to have me not come up with that $60,000.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep. So instead of paying hard money costs, you could just get straight
Take over that $800 payment. That's my hard money cost. I'm taking up that $800 payment. Good news is whatever I pay, I do get the pay down benefit of that. I do get to write off whatever, so there's going to be some benefit to that there too. But I'm not coming up with 60,000 or that's my money lender there. Next is if you want to do the rehab or partner with another investor who will furnish the rehab. Your half is taking care of the 60,000 of the price of the house. Their half is coming up with the 60,000 in repairs. Then you sell the house, split the proceeds. You get into a fix and flip with no money.
Yeah.
Or you just assign that deal to another investor who wants to do that work themselves, and you collect an assignment fee. They take over that payment. They do the work, and now they've got a rental.
Right. Mhm.
Now, I will say she's skittish.
Mhm.
If you're going to assign that to another investor, I always say you want to make sure that you're dealing with somebody who really knows what they're doing.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Not always maybe, hey, this is my first deal. I've never done this before. Not saying they're not capable, but you want to know somebody who's been in this realm who could handle this kind of stuff, right?
Mhm.
How are you marketing the property looking for a cash buyer?
So I've been advertising pretty much all over different groups for investors, like Facebook groups, and I've been trying to find different people. I even went on Bigger Pockets and was like even trying to see if I could find somebody that way.
Yeah, we pulled a neighboring list on PropStream.
Yeah.
All the houses, all cash sale houses that have gone down in the last 6 months.
Yeah, and try to skip trace them and contact those people.
Have you had much luck? I mean, how many showings have you had?
So the person that we were originally trying to JV with, she had some people come through, but it was under the thought that it was a duplex at first, and it's actually a single family. And so then after that, she hasn't had a single person or anything like that come by. And since we're in Virginia, we were like, well, that's one reason why we wanted to JV with somebody and try to get done, because we knew we were going to be able to get out there, and we didn't want to have her have to keep going out to the property. Because she said it gives her like really bad memories and anxiety and things like that. And so she's also paranoid to put a lockbox on, because we even sent her one because she agreed to it at first. And then she was like, well, I don't know. And then she had like a million excuses why she couldn't put the lockbox on anymore.
So is the house like empty and no stuff inside of it?
She's got a couple things. Yeah, she's got a couple things in there.
Okay. I mean, I do know a bunch of investors in Albany.
Mm-hmm.
Position is actually trying to, so maybe she could send some investors her way too.
Well, then there we go. Oh,
Courtney's on here, yeah.
Oh, Courtney's in here. Oh, snap.
I'm here.
Okay, I didn't realize that. So Courtney is our disposition manager. She's on tonight, and there she is. I didn't even see.
Hello.
Finally
got the kids to bed.
Court is like a ninja because what happens is our acquisition team is we find deals across the country all over the most random places. And then all of a sudden she's got to find buyers for them. Good news is we have deals currently in Albany right now that we're doing. This is right in the Albany area. One of our closing calls tonight was in the Albany area too. So
Yeah.
we seem to do well there. So if you want Court, get you in touch with some buyers that we've seemed to found that work well in that side of town.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Try to get the cash deal if you can, get her cashed out, get her done with that property once and for all. However, with her being a little paranoid, that could be a challenge. But I would at least bring up to like, aren't you sick of making that payment?
Yeah.
Now we could start looking at maybe as an option that we could start taking over that payment for you. So you're not, until we could get it paid off down the road more. Is that something you'd be interested in us doing? And if it is, let's have that conversation.
Right. Yeah, I think she's already primed for this. I think it would be too much of an issue to do.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I would give that a shot. And I don't think your numbers are terribly far off. The one thing though, like I would broadcast the living snot of that deal. I will invite you guys to, or of course, if you can, either one of us will invite you to, there's a Facebook group for upstate New York real estate investors.
We might be in it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, definitely invite us though. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like upstate New York real estate something or others, but check that out because if not, if you plop it in, there's always people looking for deals and there's a lot of them in that area too.
Yeah.
I don't think your numbers are terribly far off. I would just mention terms and then use that as another angle to dispose the deal. Because having one way is okay, but having two ways is much better.
Right.
When you're disposing. And so what we try to do is give Courtney the best shot of disposing that deal by giving her the most, ability to sell that deal is by having terms or cash.
Okay.
So, all right, cool.
Can I jump in for just a second?
Yeah.
Hey, Eric, I actually just messaged you. So the problem some of us are running into with the upstate New York is huge. So Eric actually messaged me their flyer the other day and I was super interested, except I'm all the way in Rochester.
Okay.
So,
exactly who that is now.
Yeah.
Hi guys.
Hey.
So I was like, oh, this looks awesome and promising, but it's way too far away because my husband and I are actually working on getting our first actual non-live-in flip. And so I'm like, I need to be a little closer to home for the first one. But yeah, so I guess it's a problem we're running into with having the upstate be so big.
Broad.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you bring up a great point because you could be on one side of the state in 5-6 hours to get to the other side.
Yeah.
So you're probably about like 3.5-4 hours from Rochester where that deal is compared to where we are.
That's a huge point.
So you bring up a great point. But there are a lot of investors in that Albany area who would be loving some great deals like this. So we definitely love to help.
Yeah. We'll take the help we can get.
Well, Courtney is a ninja.
Yeah.
I also was going to say I connected with somebody in like the Albany, Broadwood area that is a contractor. He would looked at our Gloversville house and stuff too. So I can always help connect with I've made some connections with some contractors out that way too, if that is something anyone's looking for too.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, Court, to give you a heads up, we talked to another investor tonight. It was in Arizona who has a wrap mortgage deal in Albany, New York. He probably will want some help dispoing on. I said, say the word, and we all bought it. So he's gonna let us know.
I literally have a list of people in Albany. So,
and this is a perfect deal. He wants to sell it to either an investor or somebody to live into it on a wrap mortgage. He's ready to go. He's like, I'm having the hardest time finding a buyer. I'm like, if you give it to us, we should have that done pretty quickly. So that was music to his ears. Here's a great question. Why do you buy on a wrap mortgage, wraparound versus sub 2? That's a great question. And I'm glad you brought that up. So they're very similar, but they do have some significant differences. And a lot of times it is to protect our seller. And a second reason is to appease an attorney. You're going to protect your seller, most importantly, because if I'm buying on a wrap mortgage, they're recording a new mortgage from us to them. If I don't pay them, they could foreclose and take the property back. Right? It sounds simple. There's some lawyers involved, but it can be done. And that's what happens. If I buy the property sub 2, there's no new mortgage. If I don't pay, that makes that really hard to get this house back. How are they going to go about doing that? It could be dragged on forever, right? So that causes some problems. So A, I want to protect my seller. B, when I'm going to be buying on a wrapped mortgage, my new payments to him, and I know a lot of folks, and we've had this happen before, where we bought their house on a wrapped mortgage, they move out of state, they're applying for another mortgage. Well, all we've done now to the bank is show them that our payments that we're sending out to their bank, we're making that payment directly, and they will wash out that payment and wash out his debt. So the DTI qualified them for a new mortgage. So I really like that too. And the part of the wrap, you could structure it the same way. So we could write, and Britt could tell you, how many times do we write a wrap mortgage for the balance they owe on the property for the same payment at the same pay down? We're basically mirroring their current mortgage. We're just wrapping our new mortgage around that. So we'll have all the same benefits. We protect our seller. We keep it easier for them to qualify for a mortgage down the road. And it just makes a lot of sense that way. So those are a few good reasons why I love to do wrap mortgages over sub 2. Last but not least, icing on top of the cake, attorneys. We live in an attorney state in New York, and attorneys will make or break your deal. And if an attorney sees a sub 2 deal, especially in New York State, they're usually going to put their veto stamp on that deal and not let it go through. Where on a wrapped mortgage and we do good business, my attorney explains well what we do, they're usually okay with it. Do we lose deals to that once in a while? Sure do. We had to pivot on one today, as a matter of fact, and we still got a purchase sale agreement done because we moved to a cash deal because that deal made sense on a cash deal. But they do tend to be a little bit of an issue. But if you see a sub 2, the attorneys that I've seemed to have done business with do not like them. But that's a very good question.
Then, yeah, the second part of that question was, if you buy in a wrap, then you're going to put it in your own name.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. There's so many wraps, your name and then debt to income will be affected, but we never put anything in our own names.
No, we will deed, our new house gets deeded into a land trust. So our wrap is between our land trust and the seller. Nothing's in our name. We'll have LLCs as the beneficiary. So we'll structure it that way. So nothing goes in our own name. However, that's not always the case because Jen and I, she keeps on wanting to buy a house in Florida where it's tropical and
Why is it
sunny.
just me?
Because I know when I get there, I will too. But right now, this is your idea.
Oh, okay.
But I know when I see
right.
it,
You know that.
and I know when I see it, I'm like, oh my God, honey, you're right. Like I do with so many other things. So for now, it's your idea.
All right.
But when it happens, we would probably end up buying a house for ourselves personally on a wrap. Now that wrap won't be under my company name. That wrap will probably be under a land trust, but will be Joe and Jen beneficiary. So you can do it for your own personal house, or you could do it for your own business too. The choice is yours. Do we ever partner on deals? I can't say we wouldn't. I can't say we have though. I guess every deal stands on its own, but I wouldn't say no to anything that makes sense. But great question. That was so cool. I think we got everything.
Yeah, the one in the beginning, I didn't have a chance to really type it all out. I was trying not to click away too hard, but somebody asked about our roles and you kind of touched upon that. Like we're really learning like what we're good at, but I cannot preface it enough that when you're starting it, and even if it's just you know, your hat, you'll be wearing many hats and your butt will be in probably all of the seats. So it's really important to remember that, you know, you got to learn how to do some of those roles. Like right now, I do all of the bookkeeping and I'm the one sending off the mortgage payments, collecting the rent, dealing with a lot of that back end stuff. But I also love social media marketing, which is how we get a lot of our ads. Joe loves marketing too. So we kind of, you know, work together on that, but he loves seller calls. That's not my cup of tea. You won't see me doing what he's doing over here because he just loves doing that. So you have to figure out what you really love doing and do it. But also there are some things that you're gonna have to do that you may not love doing at first. And then when you can, you delegate those out. And as you grow, you find the right people. As you see, we've got a team around us that we are so grateful for, and we wouldn't be here today doing this many deals without these fantastic ladies. And you know, it's just really important to remember that too, that we took this full-time March 2020. Before that, we were just, mom and dad working full time at a dealership, and it was one house a year, maybe two. And then now we're at where we're at because of the full time intention and consistency and the people around us.
Right. And for some reason, having great talent and having some folks around you that are great team. And I can't stress that enough. And doesn't matter how great of a person you think you are, having a great people around you, a team, is what's going to ultimately guide you to success. So having that vision and all be on the same page has been super helpful. And the thing I love about our team too is they're all able to adapt and bring other things from their personal experience to add to the team to make it even better, besides just doing the simple tasks that we're all supposed to do, right? So they do a great job for us, and this is why we're able to get to where we are. And we love helping them be real estate investors too, and getting them get to their own deals. And that's what we're working on too. So cool. Any other questions before we sign off, gang? Anybody want to add or share anything?
Have we ever
I
had
put it in
net terms?
Hey, I put in the chat a second ago that as you guys were talking about finding wholesale buyers. So these are other investors who buy your wholesale deals. I use a chat bot for that. I'm a member of the bot builders community with Nick Frashone. And anyhow, I will actually go into Facebook groups in a certain area if I'm marketing to a certain area, and I will just drop a chat bot that says, hi, my name is Ed Middlebrooks. I own fullpriceforyourhouse.com. I'm a terms buyer, but occasionally in my marketing, I come across great wholesale deals. I understand the Mayo formula and what you're looking for. If you would ever like any of these deals, simply click this link below and my chatbot, I let them know it's a chatbot, and my chatbot will pre-qualify you. And what this does is it allows them to tell me their name, their contact information, if they're looking for single family homes, multifamily homes, how they're financing these homes, whether it's through cash, hard money, private lenders, traditional financing. And that also allows me to qualify them as to whether or not they're going to be able to close the deal quickly. I ask them how many bedrooms and bathrooms they're looking for, if that even matters. And then I ask them how quickly they're looking to close. So these people literally go into this chatbot, and I end up with an entire CSV file of people in a certain area who have already pre-qualified exactly what it is that they're looking for. And then I'll just filter out that data, and I'll have, 5 quality people who are serious about buying houses as wholesale deals. So completely automated. So when I'm looking for a particular buyer for my property, I go right to that list, send it off to 5 of them. The first one that gets back, they usually close it quickly because I already know how they're financing it.
So that's amazing. So you share that into just random Facebook groups, that snapshot with the link involved. And then if they start clicking it, it goes from there.
Yeah, it's an investor Facebook group. I'll actually send you the link so you can see it yourself, because hey, why not? As I come up with deals, if any of you guys are looking for fix and flips, that's part of it. So you actually see it from the investor's point of view. And if there's a way that I can share that with you, actually I can share the template with you.
Yeah,
and
can you also share that on our Creative Finance Playbook, the Facebook page?
Of course.
So if any of you guys are watching this, go to Creative Finance Playbook on the Facebook page. Ed will drop that on there too. And then obviously your information will be on there too. So if they have any questions about that, Ed, could they get a hold of you on that?
Absolutely.
Because I know we will be.
Sure. And to those people who did email me about that template, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a Zoom after this for us to hop on so I can show you how it works, because it is basically a CRM, and it's not actually Excel, it's Google Sheets. So it's all done on the web. Beauty is when you decide to move to an actual CRM later on, you can just export all the information and pop it right in. But back when I was trying to keep it on the cheap, I just used a free Google Sheet, and my wife, who's an Excel maestro, created all these dynamic fields and stuff. So we had drop downs for like where we're at with all the statuses. It was great.
Oh, I love it.
I am not that.
See, I don't know how to build Excel, but I love Excel when it works. And I could just input the data and use all the boxes, but building is not my forte. So that's a Abby thing.
That's a Stephanie thing for me.
And a Diego. He's one of our students. He's here too. Mr. Excel himself.
Excel.
So yeah, that'd be awesome. And I'd love to set up a Zoom or something like that. We could talk about this more too.
That'd be fun.
Sure. Absolutely. I love to share my strategies. I teach and train on this stuff just like you guys do.
See,
so,
then
yeah,
why don't we do this? We'll set up an event on our Facebook page where we could have you on there and we could just chat about this stuff and share it with the community, because I would love to do this more, and obviously in person too. But
of course,
I can't wait 38 more
Yeah,
days.
you guys are awesome. I love what you're doing. I love your enthusiasm. And I find it wonderful that you use your beautiful blonde wife there as Jen buys houses and then they get on the phone with Joe. Bait and switch.
They get to talk to Chelsea and Brittany and Abby. And
That's right.
But
Anyway,
they
I just.
that was the original, I will say. Especially if you look at a couple of our very first videos, testimonials, somebody's like, yeah, I answered this ad online, and then I talked to Joe. And I'm like, it was her smiling face.
Yeah, but that's really, the proof is though, you should be using your faces because, there's so many people that just have a graphic or a logo, which is great, but it's not just my blonde hair that's selling, it's my personality, it's my person, it's the fact that I share who I am, who we are, what we're doing. And the question was, well, do people give you pushback? You're taking over their mortgages. They don't really question it if they can go to the page and they see happy sellers, they see mom, dad, kids, real people doing this all of the time, and I'm not hiding anything. There's nothing to hide, right? And that's taking away the fear factor. So I think I cannot stress enough, if you don't have a Facebook business page, go start one right now, put your beautiful smiling face on there and get some free leads, because they will come if you post consistently. I promise that.
We got one today in South Carolina or North Carolina.
I got one on Instagram, you guys. So use your platforms. I can't stress it enough that if you don't tell everybody what you do, then they're not going to know to come to you. So.
And we love spending money on bird dogs for people who referred us deals that we're buying. That's some of the favorite checks that you're going to write. And you know what? Anybody who says, hey, listen, to my uncle's looking to sell his home, and we buy that home and we could pay them $1,000 as a thank you, as a bird dog, as that finder's fee for bringing us that deal that we buy. That goes a long way with folks too. So,
oh, I totally forgot. I wanted to let everybody know, sorry. I've had a couple questions too. So this is the closing call. What the heck are you guys doing to get these calls, right? Well, there's a whole opening call script that we do have, and we have it in a masterclass, and we have all of our classes bundled, and we decided just for this weekend only, and you guys are getting first dibs. If you are interested in any of those, 22% off using code 2022 up until Sunday. I'm going to launch all of that. It's all ready to go. So if you head to our website and you do want any of that, it's there, because that script is what everybody here in this room that works with us uses. It's copy and paste text messaging, Facebook messaging. You don't have to even get on that phone until you're ready to. You can simply message. A lot of people prefer it these days. So I just want to throw that out there real quick too.
and this is the script that we designed in-house. This is us asking questions. This is us getting the seller to give us the offer. We've looked at so many different scripts. They were looking so confusing. They look like a roadmap where if the seller says yes, go to page 72. If they say no, to go to page 5. And I'm like, okay, am I rifling through the pages? And it was a nightmare. This is a very straight line approach. It's very simple. You're asking questions, you're getting answers. The sellers will make you the offer on these properties. We don't make offers, they make them to us. We look at that and then obviously get in that closing call, which you guys just witnessed tonight. So
yes,
thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's all ready to go.
All right, cool.
Well, students, get your check-in sheets ready. Our mentoring will re-enroll in the spring. We'll have some of those coming up. If you're interested, you can always message us. But until then, I'm thinking we need a Florida event, a live one, and an in-person meeting if you're down there. And we are ready to start doing some in-person meetups for sure this year.
And our students, you guys, some of you are in this room, please do your check-in sheets tonight, because Thursday is one of my favorite days of the week. It's student day, where we meet with all of our students and talk about their businesses and see what they've got going on. And they've got stuff going down. So I cannot wait. So get your check-in sheets done tonight, gang.
All right, and Courtney will catch up with you in 2.2.
Cool. And thank you, Ed, for sharing everything with the community tonight. Thank you, team, for being here and helping with all these sellers. You guys were doing awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you, Courtney, for jumping on, and students. And thank you, everybody else, for being here tonight. We do appreciate you spending your time with us tonight. Hopefully you learned something. You've got some information. We typically buy no money down. Remember that. It works. It's just that easy. But if you don't ask, they will never tell you. So, but we plan on doing a lot more of these free events for you guys too, and giving back. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you later.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye.